Hello, I am Captain. I am your host of this YouTube channel, and today we're going to be looking at a new tank that has just entered Super Test. This is a Tier 9 brand new Russian auto loader, and I mean auto loader, not auto reloader or reverse auto reloader. This is a brand new, and it's the first of the Russian lines to ever have an auto loader, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Is the new line that I'm like, this could be really good. The SDI 2, I don't have the same feeling for. I don't feel like it's competitive enough, especially with the current meta. But this tank right here is going to be amazing, as it is with the stats it has in Super Test at this point. Now, if we look at the tank briefly, this is the picture we have of it. It has a really small lower plate, rounded upper plate, no pike nose, so that's good in certain situations, but it's easier to pen in some instances. Now, you can see that it does have a fairly noticeable cupola. It's not terrible. Looks like it has pretty decently spaced armor on the side. And so let's get into the stats, shall we? Alright, so here we go. I've made this chart to compare it with a couple other tanks. Let me zoom in more. Okay. The Object 752, the Emil 2, and the T54E1, I thought kind of are similar. Bear with me, as there's few tier 9 auto reloaders to compare it with. So these were the two closest ones, I thought. And you will see as I go on in this how much better the 752 is than the T54E1, and makes the Emil 2 look pretty bad. So here we go, guys. So the Object 752, well, what does it have it going for it? It has a 440 damage per shot, 3 shell autoloader. It has the same, it has the same potential per clip as the Emil 2, and the T54E1 has a 4 shell 390 alpha shell clip. So the T54E1 does have 240 more damage per clip, but the time it takes to get that clip out really dwarfs it. So let's go ahead and get into it. Penetration. Object 752, 256, very nice. This is tier 9, not tier 10, so it makes the AMX 50B look bad. 318 premium shell penetration and 68 HE. 68, in my opinion, just doesn't really cut it. And then 252 on the Emil and 300 on the premium round. So pretty good penetration. It does have APCR standard, but the 300 heat pen doesn't really compete with the 318 of the 752. I mean, 18 penetration more is quite substantial. The T54E1 has only 210 and 255 heat pen for its gold rounds. It doesn't. That's less than the standard shell of the Object 752. We don't know the shell types as of yet, but I'm just going to go out there and say 256. I'm fairly certain, as most Russian tanks are, AP standard. So, and most tanks for that matter. Autoloader time. So this is to initially load your shells, 26.2 seconds, 24.48 for the Emil 2. T54E1 lags behind at 34.52. That is not that good. That is 9.32 seconds more than the 752 just to reload. Then interclip, 2.75 for the 752. Alright, it's not the worst. The Emil 2 is at 3, which is not not the greatest, but the T54E1 has 2.22 for its inner clip reload, which is nice. It makes that 4-shell clip a little bit more bearable because you only have to wait 6.67 seconds to get all of your clip off. The total time to reload, now I say total time to reload as in you load your shells in and then you fire them off. If you fire them off as soon as you load them, that total time is 31.79. Now I could have worded it better. Emil is just ahead of it at 30.48 and the T54 E1 is 41.19. Damage per clip is 1320 on both the 752 and the ML2, as they have the same damage per shot and 3 shells. 1560 for the T54E1. The damage per minute for we're talking auto loaders, not auto reloaders or anything like that. None of this off-brand crap. 2498 for the 752. That's very good. ML2 also has really good DPM for tier 9 at 2598 for an autoloader. T54E1 kind of is closer to the pack at 2273. Now the problem is about the ML2 is you have nice DPM for an autoloader. The problem is it's situational. You're playing the ML2 from ridgelines, and everybody will tell you, you are a paper tank. Your hull is crap. We'll get to that. But, like, that DPM is nice. But sometimes if you use your DPM when you're not on a ridgeline, you're going to get punished for it. And so it makes the 752 with just 100 less and being able to be in much more situations, much more playable, right? Dispersion 0.4, aim time 3 for the 752, very Russian-like accuracy, but Russia will help you pen your shots no matter what. 0.36 dispersion and 2.68 aim time on the ML2. That's really necessary if you want to be playing that mid-range sniping role that the ML2 has, and if it was any worse than that, it wouldn't be playable. T54E1 is in the middle at 0.38 and 2.78 for your dispersion and aim time. It's not great, and also the bloom on that tank is shit because of the hidden stats. Alright, so when we come to gun depression, -8 for a Russian tank. We're talking Russian here. -8 degrees of gun depression, 11.7 up for your elevation. It's not great. It's not even good for that matter. Like, your gun elevation should be like, 15 degrees, but like these tanks are only 11.7 for the 752, 8 for the MIL2. That's horrible. And 13 for the T54E1. It's really hard to deal with tanks that are above you in these tanks. One example I like to give is if you're on the south side of the mines and you go up the east side of the map, and their team, the north team, takes the hill with their light tanks, they can shoot down on you, and you can't shoot up at them because your gun can't elevate enough. That's bad. So those are some situations that these tanks, if they find themselves in, can't really do much. But here's the thing. All three of them have great gun depression. -8 on the 752, -12 on the MIL2, and -8 on the T54E1. The difference between the T54E1 and the other two, the T54E1, when it goes over a ridgeline, you can penetrate the cheeks, you can penetrate literally like the whole tank is a weak spot. And so, yes, it can have troll bounces, but the thing is, it's a lot easier to pen the T54E1 when it goes over a ridgeline. So you're not really using ridgelines in your T54E1 as well as you could in the 752. So as we go down, potential damage 13,200, 21,120, and 14,040 respectively. In MIL2 you can run whatever ammo type you want. You can load 2 or 3 HE rounds and you'll still be fine. 13,200 is kind of lackluster for the 752, which means that you only want to load at most like 1 HE round. Let's say if you're trying to defend cap, that's the only time I'd ever load HE in that tank, because of the penetration of the HE rounds is like 60 something. I don't know if I put in, yeah, 68. Once you get tanks that have like 90, you know, sorry, 90 millimeters of penetration, that's where I'd start using a couple rounds of HE in my tank. Alright, so we get on to the mobility, the speed. 50 kilometers forwards and 15 backwards for the 752 means that you can get into forward positions, but you can't get out of them. If you push too far up, it's going to be hard to get to a safer position by reversing and keeping your armor towards them. Although this tank has pretty troll armor all around, as you'll see here in a second. 56 for the ML2 and 18 backwards. That's better, but 43.5 for the T54E1 and 20 back. Now the thing here that's important to note is the horsepower. You have 790 horsepower on the 752. That means that even though your top speed is lower than the ML2 at 56, you're going to get to your top speed a lot faster because of your horsepower per ton ratio at 17.4 versus a 14.91. So very, very nice. Only 550 horsepower on that ML2 and 810 horsepower on the T54E1, but that's not nearly enough for how much that T54, hence the name, 54 tons, it does not get up to speed. In fact, that 43.5 top speed, which is mediocre at best, like the M48 Pen is much more flexible. This tank, there are situations where it just can't even get to its top speed of 43. So not very fast, flexible tank, to say the least. Hull traverse and the turret traverse isn't great on this tank. 32 degrees per second, 23 turret, 31 on the ML2, and 21 degrees of turret traverse on the ML2. Basically what this says for both of these tanks is that if somebody gets around you like a light tank, you can't keep your turret up with them. They're going to go ring around the rosy on both of those tanks. Whereas the T54E1 has a very nice hull traverse speed of 47.97 degrees and a turret traverse speed of 37.5 degrees per second. Like, you can keep up with people, but these 752 and the MIL2 kind of like a Badger, where if a light tank gets behind you, you're screwed. There's nothing else to say. Alright, and then the armor hit point section. Survivability. 1850 hit points on the 752. I wish that was a little bit higher, maybe like 1900, but who am I to say? Honestly, 50, it's not a big difference. It's fine. But the MIL2 only has 1700. That means that if you get shot, by its own gun, a total of 4 times, you're screwed. That's not good. Like, if a MIL2 or a 752 comes up to another one and puts in a clip, you're one shot away from being dead. That's not good. So 1700, if it was a little bit higher, it would take like 5 shots. So it'd make it a little bit harder, or a little bit more survivable. 1750 on the T54E1, it needs it. It's a XP pinata, basically. Whole armor on the 752 is 180 85 on the sides and 80 on the rear. Makes it very nice for rear side scraping. People are going to have a tough time penning you. 330 on the turret, 150 on the side, and 120 on the back. That makes it so that you can have those troll bounces, and people are going to rage because your armor is just so nice. 330 on the front of your turret, combined with 8 degrees of gun depression, makes it so that you can play ridge lines super duper well. You can play up close and personal using rock piles or whatever, and play hold down, and people, you can annoy the shit out of people. 215 degree, or excuse me, 80, 60, and 30 for the hole on the ML2, 152, 76, and 38 for the T54E1. Garbage, just absolute garbage. You're getting penned constantly. T54E1, big tracks, you're going to get tracked quite a bit. Turret armor for the ML2. I mean, it's the one thing it has going for it besides its DPM and its better accuracy than these tanks. 250 on the front. As we all know, it's hard to pen the ML2 when it's playing the ridgeline, so you kind of just stay away from that ridgeline when it's there. But the thing is, it can only play the ridgeline. That means if it gets it onto a map that doesn't really have good ridgelines to work with, it's going to be underperforming. And then the T54E1 obviously has that shitty turret with big cheeks. 127 frontally, 70 on the sides, and 51 on the rear. Annoyingly bad. Makes it hard to use your 8 degrees of gun depression. And then view range. All these tanks have a decent view range. T54E1 kind of needs that 400 to be playable, but 380 on the MIL2 and the 752 makes them versatile. Well, the 752 versatile, and it makes the MIL2 able to work those ridge lines by spawning for itself and shooting what it needs from the ridge line. The 752, it can play the ridgeline with its 8 degrees of gun depression, but it also can be up in your face. So having that 380 view range makes it so it can do more than just being up in people's face, but also playing ridgeline. So dual purpose, very nice. And yeah, that's how it's looking. A lot better than the T54E1. Please buff the T54E1, make it playable again. But the MIL2, one purpose only, play ridge lines. And this tank, it can do what the T54E1 up close and personal better, but also play ridge lines like the ML2. Maybe not to the level that the ML2 can play ridge lines, but it can do that as well. Makes it a very flexible tank, one that I'm looking forward to grinding for at a later point when they do decide to put this out for the public, which I hope they do. But yeah, thank you for tuning in today's video. My name is Captain America. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day or night.